350africa.org and partners Sind and 350G Rock have held a workshop in Accra to promote communication between the renewable energy industry and journalists on climate change. The event aimed to foster collaboration and idea sharing on promoting climate movement and media coverage in Ghana and Africa. It featured grassroots activists from the Renewable Energy for Communities campaign who shared their struggles. Charity Migwe, Africa Regional Campaigner at 350africa.org, explained that the workshop was to strategize on ways to make more gains in the RE space in the country in the next decade. She subsequently expressed hope that Ghana will make significant advancements in renewable energy over the next 10 years. The program provided climate advocates with training to engage the media and the public to improve their communication skills and promote green energy alternatives. The Accra workshop served as a catalyst to boost public awareness of climate change and renewable energy in anticipation of impacting legislative decisions and increasing public knowledge. Executive Director of the African Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boakye, has reiterated that the electricity company of Ghana needs private investment. According to him, government needs to divide the financing requirements into manageable portions for Ghanaian businesses to take over. This, he said, would help the power distribution company to rake in more revenue to clear the debts owed some independent power producers. Benjamin Boakye said this approach will encourage domestic investors to pool resources to raise equity and underwrite additional debts for investment in ECG on an appropriate thin capitalization rule. The executive director of ACEP also bemoaned the increase in monies received under the cash waterfall mechanism from 50% to 11%, despite the increase in tariffs last year, and called on ECG to account for revenues accrued from September last year under the CWM. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has begun a nationwide tariff education program in tertiary institutions. The program, which commenced with the University of Ghana and attended by both students and faculty members, was to involve the participants as they form part of the cross-section of utility consumers in the country. Executive Secretary of the PURC, Dr. Ishmael Aka, responding to various questions from the participants, noted that tariff setting as one of the Commission's mandates is to prevent natural monopoly by service providers, a scenario in which utility providers could potentially exploit changes and raise tariffs. He further explained that tariff reviews are necessary as it allows the utility service providers to recoup their investments. Dr. Aka told the students that in certain tariffs, the Commission considers variables such as natural gas price, expressed in US dollars, the exchange rate, the hydrothermal mix, and inflation when deciding on tariffs for electricity and water. Egypt's Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energy has confirmed that the capacity of the interconnection line between Egypt and Sudan was increased from 80 to 90 megawatts about a month ago in preparation for its operability at its full capacity of 300 megawatts by the end of this year. According to a source at the ministry, the interconnection project with Sudan is one of the most important projects being implemented by the Ministry of Electricity, and that electrical missions are being added to increase the capacity and stability of the existing electrical interconnection line, as well as to increase the transmitted capacity between the two countries from 90 to 300 megawatts. Minister of Electricity, Dr. Mohammed Sheikha, has issued tight instructions to ensure that the energy transmitted to Sudan via power transmission lines is of the highest quality in conformity with international norms. The capacity of the first phase of the electrical connectivity project with Sudan is 300 megawatts and is to be expanded in the second phase to 3,000 megawatts. Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Haytham Al-Ghais, told the Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference on Tuesday that global demand for all forms of energy is expected to climb by 23% by 2045. Oil executives and officials from OPEC have frequently argued for ongoing investment in oil, warning that prices will otherwise spike higher. Al-Ghais also said that efforts to curtail or halt funding for new oil projects were unrealistic and irresponsible, responsible. He did, however, recognize the necessity for technology to combat unabated fossil fuel pollution. The global oil sector requires $12.1 trillion in investment throughout the same period, according to Al Ghais, who added that the industry is not currently on track to meet that level of investment. According to sources close to OPEC, the organization will likely maintain an optimistic estimate for oil demand growth next year when it releases its first outlook later this month, predicting a deceleration from this year but still an above-average gain. Visit energyghana.com or energyghanamagazine.com for more on these stories. Energy Brief is proudly brought to you by Airport View Hotel.
Energy Ghana TV. Local in focus, global in perspective.